First of all, I always thought that breast cancer was a white woman's disease. I didn't know that black women got breast cancer, and that was mainly because all the promotions featured white women. So I just thought, oh, black women don't get this. And then, lo and behold, I was diagnosed with stage 3 advanced breast cancer. I thought after that I finished with the IV and the chemo that I was going to go home. I didn't know I had to take additional over-the-counter, not over-the-counter, but prescription drugs. And I went, and it was quite expensive. And I thought to myself, okay, what do poor people do? How do women that look like me, that is less fortunate than I am, how do they make it? How do they find the money to pay for this prescription, take care of their families, cover all their finances? That must be so difficult for them. And then I was at home one morning feeling, terrible after chemotherapy treatment. Couldn't get off the bed. It was terrible. And I thought to myself, okay, I don't want any other woman that looks like me to have to go through this alone. So when I get better, I'm going to do something about this. That started the journey of me and the Olive Branch of Hope.
The Olive Branch of Hope's office is situated on Indigenous land. This is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, the Wendat and the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. The Olive Branch of Hope gratefully acknowledges these Indigenous nations for their guardianship of this land. The Olive Branch of Hope also recognizes stolen people from across the world who have inhabited this land by force. Slavery prior to and including the transatlantic slave trade continuing through modern day human trafficking have brought Indigenous people from across the globe to care for this land. We acknowledge the truth of our Canadian history and commit ourselves to reconciliation, knowledge, and careful intention. I invite you to take a moment of silence. Feel free to use this moment for prayer, memory of a loved one, or to set an intention for your engagement on this space. Thank you for holding this moment of silence with me.
Volunteers in saying thank you to you. Thanks to you for watching. Now you have a chance now, just before we get right into it further, if you could please quickly share the link that's provided to you with everyone that you know, so that we can jump right into our conversation. And I just wanted to give a quick intro as to who I am. So I am Donnaree Tucker, as you've seen there, that I am the chair of the board of directors for the Olive Branch of Hope, a position that I've held for a number of years. And I'm delighted to definitely be working with this organization, the Olive Branch of Hope, as you may have heard about before. This is where our mission is to create a safe space or place where Black women can share their breast cancer experiences, be informed, empowered, inspired, and renew their hope for a better future, not only for themselves, but the future for other generations to come as well. So again, thank you for joining us. And I am here with the lovely Rhasheda Sheete. She's owner and lead VA. And we're going to be having a quick chit chat or a quick, almost like a fireside chat with her. But before we get right into it, I'd like to please welcome and ask Rhasheda if she could please introduce herself.
Sure. As mentioned, my name is Rhasheda Skeet. Good night, everybody. And I am a 38-year-old mother of two amazing boys. I believe one of the best jobs in the world, and the owner of the Virtual Assistant, which is a remote administrative and social media management solution to the busy, overwhelmed small business owner. I also ventured into owning a t-shirt brand, which I conceptualized in the height of COVID, that depicts Black excellence. I felt like there needed to be a t-shirt on my island that spoke to the excellence of being melanated. So I created one. Um, and also a podcaster, doing a podcast about small business ownership, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and everything in between. Outside of my business acumen and the things that I do, I am a lover of food, travel, a good book, a good glass of
Mm,
wine, and great conversation.
wonderful. Thank you, Miss Rashida. Sound like somebody who would like to spend some time with you. Sound like or seem to be a fun person to be
Definitely,
around.
definitely.
I'm sure you cause everyone to be happy and to smile once they're in your presence.
I try as best I can, as best I can.
That is wonderful, wonderful. Now, so yeah, so you've shared a little bit about yourself.
Mhm,
Very inspirational and quite interesting.
mhm.
Now, I'll move into another question that I have for you here. And this question is just to ask you, your opinion in terms of vision. What is the importance of vision to you?
So there's a saying that I like that goes, vision without action is merely a dream, and vision with action can change the world. And having a clear, concise vision is super important to the development of self, I find. It takes several attributes to be able to execute a vision. It takes discipline, it takes faith, it takes grace, it takes grit, it takes forgiveness, it takes emotional intelligence, and
Wow.
that molds you so much in your steps along the way of life, that without a vision, I really feel like you are merely existing and not living if you don't have that structure to go by. So
Wow.
having that vision and making sure that you hold on to it. Imagine if we all didn't hold on to what we plan to do, if the things that we know that God gave us to do, we could change some element of the world just if we hold on and execute the vision. So I feel like it's so important to the nurturing of self.
Well said. Well said. Definitely. I like some of those powerful words that you've used there in your explanation of what vision means to you. Things like having grit, things
Mhm.
like forgiveness. Oh, how
Yes.
we all need to
Oh, yes.
forgive each other, even forgive ourselves.
That's true. Especially that. I think we are very tough on ourselves for things that
Yeah,
are needed. Mistakes are necessary. If you don't make mistakes, you're not growing, you're not learning, you're not evolving. But I think what kind of keeps us bogged down is that we beat ourselves up so much for those mistakes. So the first person I feel you need to actively forgive is yourself. You made the mistake,
absolutely.
you learn from it, you move on, and you're bigger and better afterwards.
Yes, yes. Cheers to you on that. No, cheers for sure. Absolutely, absolutely. I do agree with all that you have said.
Mhm.
And it just while you were speaking about the word vision, it just brought me back to a very favorite scripture, which talks about without a vision, the people
There are law.
perish.
Yeah, yep. Very much so.
Yes, so it's really important to have a vision, not even only for yourself, but for life in general, for your family, for friends, for whomever you come into contact with. You
Definitely.
can
And be
share, you have an
flexible in,
opportunity.
for sure. And be flexible in the vision too, because life happens and nothing is a straight road. But know that once you hold on to the core of what you want to accomplish with that vision, you can
Yes.
bend and ebb and flow as much as you need to. But
Wow.
once it's there, you're good.
Absolutely. So it's like the core foundation
Definitely.
of
Definitely.
life. Thank you. That
Mhm.
was awesome, Miss Rashida.
Thank you.
All righty. So we'll move on to another interesting question. Can't wait to hear your views on this one. Has there ever been a time where you felt as though your voice was diminished or silenced?
I was asked this question only like a week and a half ago by another entrepreneurial sister that I have. She was doing an interview about the effects of being a woman in entrepreneurship. And she called just to get data from all the female business owners in her life. And she asked me that. And I was like, no, I don't allow people to silence me
Oh,
ever. No, there were attempts that were made. Definitely, there were attempts that were made, but my voice is stronger than their attempts. I always make a mandate that no matter what, I will be heard, I will be felt, and when I'm no longer a part of whatever, I will be missed. So where I know there are several women who have experienced that, I make sure for sure that I don't experience that. So no, I've never been silenced. Attempted to, but not.
wow. Wow. You've attempted to being silenced, but
Yes.
never actually, because you would
Nope.
not have allowed it
I
to
don't allow it.
happen to you.
No, my voice is important, and I encourage my kids to know that their voice is important. We as Caribbean people have always been told, do as I say and not as I do, or
Mhm.
you can't express yourself. If I say something, it is because. And that's why people think there's such a harsh shift in the generations of how the younger kids are versus how we were. We were quite sheepish, sad to say. Our
Yeah.
parents gave us an instruction, we never questioned it. But not having the ability to exercise question or to say why leads you into being an adult who never is able to speak up for themselves. And I've been blessed that I had parents who allowed me to respectfully speak up for myself.
Right.
Um, and I wasn't always put under the thumb of you have to do it because I say so. No, in some instances, of course, in a child's safety or something along those lines, you just tell them, "Look, if I say to do this, do it." But
Right.
95% of the time, I feel we need to give our kids and ourselves the opportunity to speak and express disdain sometimes, disagreement. I think we don't know how to disagree and still agree without it being negative. You can still have a different point of view to me and we still be okay. But I think because as kids we were not allowed to express ourselves,
Hmm.
whether it was a negative or positive expression, we aren't able to do that as adults. But I've been blessed to have an environment where my mother always said to me, speak up, let your voice be heard, it's important. So I
Yes.
took that all through life.
Yes, absolutely. It's very important. And
It's
with today's younger generation, they already know that. It's almost like they
oh,
were born
most
knowing that they have to speak up for
definitely.
themselves, right?
I have a 5-year-old son, and listen, I have a 17-year-old and a 5-year-old, two very big generational gaps.
Right.
My 17-year-old is, kind of on, because I had him when I was young and I kind of regurgitated what I saw around me. I grew up in a small, like a village like setting. And, it was a lot of like neighbors who were involved and friendly, and everybody was the disciplinarian in the village.
Right.
Um, but my mother encourage conversation a lot. Yes, you would get discipline, but it was the last straw almost. And I did that with my son, my oldest son. And I would say, if this is what you have to do, do it. My little one is like, he's training to be a politician already. He's like, but why do I need to do that, mommy? He's like, he always prefaces it with, I'm not being rude. He is
Oh,
5. And this is not something that I've encouraged. And like you said, they
right.
are born with this natural tenacity to just
Yes.
question everything. And where I
Mhm.
love it sometimes, because I know that he will never be coerced or bullied or forced to
Yes.
do something he doesn't want to. Sometimes
Yes.
it's like, boy, just do it. So sometimes the gentle parents, we have to be like, but I love the fact that he stands up for himself. He asks questions, even me. He's like, Mommy, could you
Yes.
explain to me why I need to do that? Or what does that mean? Or
Right.
do I have to do it this way? It shows me that he thinks for himself. He's a free spirit, which I definitely want. I don't want someone who marches to anybody else's drum. I want them
Mhm.
to chart a path of their own. And I guess they're following in my example because I do the exact same thing. I stand up for myself and
Yes.
take no punches from no one.
No one. Yes, yes, absolutely not. Yes, I like the fact that you said the way your son would start off with his questions. He would say, "I'm not being rude,"
Instantly, he said
which
it.
is yeah, which is definitely showing respect,
Correct.
to you.
Mhm.
Um, Something that I was faced with when I was raising my daughter, who is now 22 years old,
Mhm.
she would always be asking, I would say something to her, and she would always be asking, but why?
But
And
why?
when I thought that I had already given the reasons or the explanation, she kept on going, but I still don't understand, but why? But why? This is a generation, you know.
Different generation. They are not like us. We were little sheep. Sad to say,
Yes, yes,
we
yes,
were. And they only, our parents only knew or did what they thought was best for what they saw and what they were told and what they heard and what
yes,
they had to do. So
yes.
it's up to us then to break, I don't like to call it a curse, but a
Mhm.
pattern, to break the
Yeah,
generational patterns of how we don't encourage communication, we don't encourage
yeah.
showing love. That's another thing that we don't do on our boys, especially. We don't
Hmm.
encourage them to be soft. We don't encourage them to be emotional, and emotional intelligence and acceptance is
Right.
huge when it comes to men, like, and
Hmm.
to females too. We are seeing such a change in the scales of our women are so hard and harsh and
Hmm.
tough. And I really would like our ladies to know that we are our strongest selves when we are rooted in our feminine energy. But that's another,
Yes.
a whole other life that we could get into. But it would change the dynamic of the way the world turns right now so much
Yes.
if we would really root ourselves as women in our emotional feminine energy.
Yes. Wonderful. Thank you so much. This is just feeling so nice already.
Mhm.
All righty. So I'm going to move to another question now. Thanks for the responses you've provided so far.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Another question I'd like to ask is, how does the idea of writing your own version of your own story and taking control of the narrative make taking control of the narrative, and how does that make you feel? I know that, there's a popular saying right now. Well, it's not a popular saying. We all know this. We all have a story. And I strongly believe that every person, especially us as women, we
Mhm.
all have a story to tell.
Definitely.
We all do. So, how does the idea of writing your own version of your own story? I can't wait for this, because I know that you've said before you would not be allowed to be silent. You would not allow anyone to silence you. So, let me hear now.
I
Going to write your own
truly
version.
feel invincible in that space of writing my own narrative, and here's why. As a woman, especially in the Caribbean, of Caribbean descent, everyone knows what's best for you. Your granny knows, your parents know, your siblings know, the neighbors, and they always preface what they're saying with, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, or I'm not trying to tell you how to live, but
Yes.
um societal impacts are also great on us as women as well, because they try to dictate how I should, what I should, who I should, how to
Hmm.
operate with my own body. So society itself wants to always mold me, or try to mold me as a female. So I decided very early, I want to say about 16 years old, I was
Hmm.
always outspoken. Like, I was that child that got talks too much on her school report. But that talker now is a podcast host, is an entrepreneur, is host of
Wow.
several events. And me talking is my strength. My voice is my strength. And I decided at very, very young, 16 years old, I said, my path will be mine and mine alone. My mistakes will also be mine and mine alone.
Hmm.
So I charted unapologetically. I
Mm.
and marched to the beat of my very own drum. I've changed careers at least 6 times just
Wow.
because I was bored. I don't want to do it anymore. It doesn't bring me joy. I'm done, and I pivoted. Um,
Mm.
and I don't think my path is finished. Your path is never finished. It's a consistent work of mapping out your path, because your path has so many different roads. It brings you back to the middle, but sometimes motherhood takes a left turn,
Hmm.
grief takes a right turn, um,
Yeah.
heartbreak spins you in a ditch, but you're still on a path. So I literally block out societal expectations, because they really
Hmm.
are unrealistic societal expectations that they put on us. And
Right.
I love my family and friends and siblings to death, but my life is mine and your life is yours, and your experiences are yours and not mine. So
Right.
you can offer
Hmm.
me the most advice. If I want to do it, I'll do it. And if I don't want to do it, I'm not doing it, because it's to make me happy and me alone. So not many people get to that space early. I had to get to that space early because I identified early on in life. Life is different as a woman than a man.
Mhm.
Existing in this world is different as a female versus as a male. So you have to set out and know your path. And I use this word a lot. Unapologetically, I make no bones about saying no, about taking a path that may not be the most impressive path, about saying to people, I will not do that in the interest of my mental health or my emotional health.
Mhm.
I will not do it. Um, I unapologetically I do that. So I feel absolutely invincible in creating my own narrative for sure. That power is unexplainable as a woman because we are we are bogged down in this world so much by
Mhm.
so many different things. Controlling our narrative is the best way of taking that control back. So I feel
Mhm.
absolutely invincible and powerful when I say to myself, this is my path and my life and I'm doing what I want.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, yes. I'm so encouraged, and I'm sure all our viewers who are watching and listening to this conversation, I'm sure they're also feeling encouraged as well by just listening to you speak, speak in your truth, to
Mhm.
share your views and your feelings. And I'm learning a lot from you actually, just listening to you, sharing your thoughts and giving, your narrative as to what you what you believe in
Definitely.
life for you, not what
Yes.
society says, not what somebody else says that
Nope.
you should do or what path you should take. You
Yep.
definitely carve that out for yourself,
Yep.
right? And
Definitely.
yeah, I think, a lot of our younger people definitely need to hear this more,
Mhm.
need to be encouraged more, knowing that you're living your life for you. And this is how I've started to look at life. Now that I'm in my 50s, I'm starting to look at life a bit differently than when I
Right.
was in my 20s, my 30s, my 40s,
Mhm.
right? Just realizing that you're living your life for you, not for someone else,
Yep.
right? Because at the end of the day, each person has to speak for themselves. Each
Yep.
person has to make decisions that will impact you for the rest of your life.
That's right. Only you can live with those decisions. The people that give you all that advice, they're not the ones living with the result of your decision. It's you. So
It's
you
you.
have to know their advice is welcomed. We thank you so much. I always tell people I receive that with so much love.
Wow.
I receive that with so much love. But because I receive it doesn't mean it has to stay. I
Yes.
receive that with so much love. I've
Yes.
I've learned that changing the narrative sometimes. My mother says something like the answer does bring the row, or the answer always brings the argument. And sometimes if we go to be defensive, like, well, why you gotta tell me that? I just say I receive that with so much love. Thank you for
Wow.
that. But I can receive it like this and release it like that because it doesn't it doesn't benefit me. I can take
Mhm.
your advice for what it is,
Right.
take up the pieces that I need,
Yes.
and remove the rest. It's like a sieve. Like you pour the stuff down through that doesn't need to stay, what needs to stay
Right.
stays, and what needs to go, go. But I always
Yes.
do it. I receive that with so much love. And that's
Wow. Wow. I love that. I'm gonna take a note of this.
you can have that. You can take it.
Thank you. I receive that with so much
I
love.
receive that with
Wow.
so much love.
Absolutely. So much love. So no hatred. Appreciate you
None.
for your comment.
Of
I
course.
receive it, but I'm going to sift
I
through.
still gonna do what I want to do.
That's right. That's right. And take what I think is speaking to me,
Correct.
but
Correct.
not because you say that I should go this way or do things this way. I'm not going to do it because you want me to do it. I am going to do it the way I want to do it when I think I want to do it,
Correct.
etc., etc.
To the benefit of me. That's it.
Yes, yes, yes. So, have you written a book as yet, or have you thought about it, or have you started?
I've thought about it. I'm not sure what I would write, but I have definitely thought about getting into writing. Um,
Mhm,
but just to figure out exactly what. Maybe something about my life and the things I've done in life and the way because how I think now is not how I thought 15 years ago, most
mhm.
definitely. it started with forgiving myself, as we were talking about earlier, and coming out of a really tough relationship. I took almost like a 7 year hiatus of being single and trying to
Mm.
fall in love with me again. And a lot of
Yes.
people don't do that. A lot of people don't understand solitude could sometimes be so peaceful. And
Yeah. Hmm.
the more you love yourself, the better you can teach someone to love you as well. So I had to kind of almost recalibrate my brain as a female, um,
Mm.
and how to receive love, how to love on myself, how to acknowledge mistakes and forgive myself. Like that was the biggest thing, because I
Wow.
beat myself up so bad. And sometimes I still do.
Hmm.
I'm human. But I think rooted in forgiveness and understanding that you are human, you have to make mistakes.
Mistakes. Hmm.
Have to. You just have to. And
Yes.
you are not perfect. You are not the AI. You're not a robot. You're not an android. You are a human being, and you will make, wrong judgments. You will not have discernment at the right time. You may not hear God's message correctly.
Hmm.
You will make mistakes.
Yeah.
So in understanding forgiveness and self-love, I kind of changed the rhetoric of the things I say, the words I use, the way I receive information from people, the way I interact with people. um,
Mm.
I operate, my standard for myself is I operate in excellence in everything I do. And I try, even in my mistakes, I said, you
Yes.
made that mistake excellently. And I try to always take the positive out of it, because
Wow.
we keep talking to ourselves negatively, if we keep speaking the
Mhm.
negative things, the world around us is negative as it is. The energy is negative that it is as it is.
Yes.
The
Hmm.
quickest thing people say to you is, you can't do that. Says who? I can do that if I want to. I can and I will. It's something else that I chant to myself all the time. I can and I will.
Yes.
And I possibly would want to write about the journey and the metamorphosis of like Rhasheda 10 years ago to Rhasheda now, like
Hmm.
15 years ago to now. It's a completely different individual. And I
Wow.
had to be, in order to run businesses, in order to raise boys, because raising boys in this world
Hmm.
not easy. In order to receive love, both platonic love, because I feel like sometimes as people, we don't understand how to receive platonic friendship love, how to receive that genuinely, as well
Yeah.
as romantic love. Like you have to
Mm.
almost drown yourself in self-love to be able to receive more, because you're
Mm.
sponges and we are receivers as women. So
Yes.
you receive it, but once you got to understand how to conduct that, and what to do with that love and do with that energy, and how to pour it onto you. And the minute you do
Mm.
that, I feel like just life, it doesn't get easier, but it just gets more doable. Does that make sense? Like root
Yes.
love is just, it's just more doable. That's
Mm.
my take on it. Maybe writing something about that, like how I metamorphose from one stage of life to another, and what is to come. Maybe a memoir
Mm.
or something in time, probably.
Right. Yes, I could see that happening. And I'm actually going to be speaking it into being right now that
Yes,
you will be writing your book. That's your
yes,
story, your book,
definitely.
which I know will help a lot of us, a lot of women, a lot of men, you know,
Mm-hmm.
parents, mothers raising boys, mothers raising girls,
Sure.
or, you know, different mixtures, right?
Yes.
Right? Just being cognizant of this, the times we're living in, the society we're living in right now,
Yep.
and just being able to embrace everyone,
Yes, for
to
sure.
love, to show love, and just to embrace everyone, because we all are under the umbrella that's called human beings.
Yep, mankind.
Human
That's right.
beings. Yes, and that's how we should all be treated in our workplaces, our homes, our communities. Just be treated, with respect and love,
Love. Yep.
right? Because we're all in this together, right?
And
We're all in this together.
a lot of us don't live like that though. We are so for self. We don't
Hmm.
we don't pull each other up. Like if you get up 3 rungs on the ladder and there's 6 rungs behind you, like help somebody up 3 rungs closer. Like
Yeah.
it used to be like that years ago, but we are not our brother's keeper anymore. It's all for self, and it comes from
Yes.
trauma and hurt and grief and things that people have experienced that they haven't forgiven the person, you have to accept the apology that you don't hear sometimes. You have to
Yeah.
accept it, like you got the apology and move on. But we hold on to hurt, and holding on to hurt makes us bitter and resentful and
Yes.
unable to genuinely love our brother from a space of I just want to help you versus
Mhm.
I don't know what you're going to do to me. I don't know why are you doing this? What do you want? We're guarded
Right.
as a people. We're very guarded as a people because we are hurt people. We are traumatized
Yeah.
people. We are
Yeah.
people who have not forgiven ourselves and others for the transgressions that they've done. So,
Hmm.
like, how are we going to love genuinely? Like, how we wrong God daily, every day.
Yes. Hmm.
He
Hmm.
forgives us every
Yes.
single time. Who am I
Yes.
to not forgive you for doing me something? I
Yes.
wrong him every day. And I'm not sinless. I wrong, I do, I judge, I swear, I wrong. God is probably up there. My guardian angel scratches her head like, girl, every day. But he forgives me because when I go to him every
Yes.
single time, he gives me what I need every
Yes.
single time. So if he can
Wow.
forgive me all these times, all these years, for every sin, big, small, and in between, who am I to not
Hmm.
forgive somebody for doing something to me? Who am I
Absolutely.
for me to not love on my brother despite what he may have done in the past? Who am
That's
I to
right.
not say, you know what?
Hmm.
I give you grace. I extend grace.
Yes.
And I forgive you. Now, because I forgive you doesn't mean I have to forget or I have to operate like it never happened. Yes, you
Right.
will be prepared. I don't really like the word guarded because it means you're blocking. And
Yes.
in guarding yourself, you block your blessings and you block the energy that you may need to do something. Because in forgiveness, it is that you are doing that in love. And when you do things in love, you just receive consistently over and over and over.
Yes. Yes.
So sometimes when you realize things aren't going good for you, you got to look at what am I doing to block my blessings? What am I doing to stagnate my energy? What am I
Right.
saying that's stopping me from receiving in love? So I can go on and on about this all night, but I just feel like because we are such a guarded, unforgiving people,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's stopping us from doing and evolving into something that we can be so great, so much more
Absolutely.
great as a people if we simply
Absolutely.
just drop the guard.
Yeah, because we all have the power within us, right?
Definitely.
We have the power within us. We speak to our creator. We speak to him, tell him our fears, our doubts,
Yep.
our hopes, our
Yep.
dreams. We give it all to him. So we
Hmm.
have the power within us to create what we want or who we want to become. And
Hmm.
just as you said before, to just love each other, learn to forgive ourselves and to
Yes.
forgive each other.
Yep.
And this will transcend beyond. Um, as a people, can you imagine how all of our lives could be different? If we were to constantly focus on this and just be the change that we want to see.
Definitely
Right,
break
Nathaniel?
the
Be
generational
the
pattern
change.
of just be the change. Just be
Yes,
the change. One person at a time, one
yes,
one set of forgiveness at a time. And you would
yes.
just see, even in your home circle, even if you just practice it in your home circle, and then that energy goes, if there are 4 people in your house
Hmm.
and you have that type of energy in your space, the people that those 4 people interact with receive that
Right.
energy, and it just spreads out more and more and more. Imagine if it's just one person at a time can
Hmm.
make a complete change. So I'm trying to
Absolutely.
make that change.
So there you have it. Yes, yes. Now, just going back to about speaking about you writing your book. What do you think the title of your book would be?
Oh, wow. We know what just came to me? Me versus me.
Oh,
That just literally came to me. Me versus
wow. Make sure you note that down.
me versus me, because it
Yes.
literally was me versus me. It was me, the old me who didn't want to take accountability, who didn't want to be a different person, versus me who wanted to change and understand self better and do
Mm-hmm.
something different. This me was doing this for all these years,
Mm-hmm.
between 17 and like 28, and life was just not lifing. Like, it just didn't feel right, and I said it has to be you, it has to start with you. That last breakup was for me the catalyst that was like, okay, something got to go. Something has to
Mhm.
change. And between 28 and now, this year is 38, is 10 years. I literally recalibrated my entire thought process when it comes to existing and doing and operating in excellence and being a business owner, being a mother, being a friend, being a daughter, sister. Just what can I do within me that makes everybody's experience with me better? How can
Wow.
I how can I make them feel loved? We look at love languages in like romantic relationships, but you have to look at the love language of your father, of your mother, your
Yes.
sisters, your kids. I kiss on my little one like all the time, and I'm thinking he's beginning to get to the point of ew, mommy, like. But that's how I want to love on him. But his love language, maybe if I sit and play trucks with him, like you have to look at it even in all your relationships. What is your
Yes.
love language to you? No one talks about that. Like,
Yes.
how do I make myself feel the most love? Is it when I take
Mhm.
myself to get my nails done? Is it when I go
Mm.
to church and I worship? Is it when I'm working? Like, do I feel like I'm loving on myself by using my brain to expand my business? Like, we have to have
Wow.
these conversations. And it's
Yes.
not romantic relationships that you have to work on. All relationships, you have to
Mhm.
be present and work on. So, but
Yes.
me versus me is what literally just popped into my brain. So I just wrote that down on my trusted post-it and that was
Yes.
to the notebook.
Absolutely. 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 It will become a million. You'll be selling millions. So
Ah, I
millions of
definitely hear
copies.
that. I hear that.
Yes, millions of copies. Because I'm telling you, you will be helping so many people, so many of us, just us looking at ourselves, at looking at our own lives, and just each day trying to see how can we be a better person? How can I be a better me to
Definitely.
serve me and to serve my family, my friends, and my community at large?
For sure. For sure.
Right? Yes. Wow, absolutely. Like so many things are going through my mind while I'm speaking to you. But I don't know if there are questions that are coming through. I do have one more question to go through with you,
Okay.
and then I will see if there will be questions coming in from the audience that you'd want to respond to. So, my final question is, what is the imagery in your mind when you hear the term victory? Yes, victory.
My response to this is going to be a little unorthodox. But
Okay.
that's the path I stay there. I stay in the unorthodox space. That's me through and through.
Right.
Hearing the term victory paints a picture of calm for me. Too often we associate victory and success and winning with struggle. You gotta fake it to make it. No pain, no gain.
Mm-hmm.
And where in some instances, so for instance, like a track and meet or weightlifting, and you're preparing for victory, there may be adversary, there may be pain. But
Mm-hmm.
in the actual victory, there should be calm, there should be peace, there should be there should be a sense of it's almost like you can take a deep breath. I've won, so the the process is what's difficult. The actual victory shouldn't be. So for me, you do go through pain and you do experience things on the journey of victory, but struggle should not be alongside the definition of victory. It just shouldn't be. Struggle and pain and adversary should not be alongside the definition or the image of victory. So victory for me, I envision a calm, peaceful sense of self when I feel like I've won. That's what I see.
Absolutely. So, okay. So, I've listened to many people share their victory journey, let's call it
Mhm,
the victory journey.
mhm.
And yes, they they have always been like highlighting um the obstacles,
Yeah.
the hard work,
Mhm.
the persistency
Yeah.
that goes with it. And then, as you said, sometimes the focus seems to be more on those parts of it
Mhm.
rather than on the victory
Itself.
itself.
Yeah. It's like the victory is defined by the struggle. Why?
Yeah.
Why are you defining it by a negative connotation of no? You won something. The journey to the winning was hard, but the difficulty doesn't define the victory. It does not. It should never. And I
Wow.
feel like that's just what we've been told. If it's no pain, no gain, why is it
Yes.
fake it? Why must I be an negative representation of myself in order for me to make it? Why can I not be genuine till I make it? Why
Yeah.
I gotta be fake? Why I gotta fake anything? Because in faking, I'm putting an energy of not being genuine, and that energy in itself is gonna block what I'm supposed to receive. So I'll never make it being fake.
Mm.
I'll never make it. I'll always be going around, around, around in circles because I'm faking it till I make it.
Wow.
I am valuing my gains based on pain.
Yeah.
Who came up with these things?
Society.
Who did it? Like let us stop. Let us look at our word power.
Wow.
No pain, no gain. Why must I
Yeah.
only gain through pain? Why can't I gain through power? Why
Yeah.
can't I gain through love? Why can't I gain through faith? Why can't I
Wow.
gain through discernment? Why must it be pain? Why must
Yes.
it be validated by hurt? So for me, like, do you see why
Mm.
as people we're just so like rooted in the things that hurt because we are told
Yeah.
propagate and spread the hurt, the pain, the
Mm.
in order to value your No, I
Mm.
refuse. I refuse. I refuse.
Wow. I've never looked at it that way,
Yeah.
honestly.
And it's the quickest thing we say, no pain, no gain.
Yeah.
No faith, no gain. Because if you don't have faith in what you believe in, you ain't going nowhere. No
Absolutely.
discernment, no gain. I guess it sounds better. It kind of rhymes, but
Yes.
it's
Yes.
also
Well,
stunting us because our words are what our words either brings or takes. You
mm-hmm.
either bring it or you get your words will either bring something to you or send it away from you. You have to
Yes.
decide which it is you're going to do. So,
Wow.
and just as you say, you speak that into being.
To
If
being.
I
Mhm.
tell myself today I'm going to write a book, I'm going to write a book.
Absolutely.
It'll happen. I've watched and I've seen some arguments on the good old mighty web about manifestations and how it's not
Mm-hmm.
godly. And but prayer is a form of manifestation. Prayer is a form of affirmation. Oh Heavenly
Yes.
Father, I thank you for the blessings that you're going to bring to me. You're praying
Mm-hmm.
for things that you haven't received yet. You're
That's right.
speaking to things that you haven't received. You're thanking him for things you can't tangibly see.
Yes. Yes.
You're doing it
Absolutely.
in your conversations with God, with whoever you serve.
Yes.
You're
Mm-hmm.
thanking him for the things you don't have yet because it means that you're opening yourself to receive what he has
Yes.
or whatever they have in store for you.
That's right.
So you can call it, you can title it what you like. It still has the
Mm-hmm.
same results. So
Absolutely.
let people have
Absolutely.
their space and do what they want to do. And do you do what you want to do? But in the end, we're all accomplishing the same thing, which is speaking our success into being.
Into being. Definitely. Definitely. It's the power of the spoken words.
Definitely. I've
Yep.
lived to see that for sure.
Yes.
I've said the negative and it happened. And I've
Yes.
said the positive and it for
Mm-hmm.
sure happened. So I'm like, if I can see these things happen with my own eyes, what is the path that I'm going to pick? And we as people, sometimes it's easier to be negative. It takes discipline to be positive, you know, it takes discipline to be consistently happy.
Yes. It does.
Consistent happiness doesn't get you pity. Consistent happiness doesn't get you attention. Misery
Mm.
does, and pain does, and being sad does. And I'm not diminishing people who may genuinely go through periods of not feeling the best mentally, but I
Yeah.
think people have gotten to the point of using rhetoric and using words in their favor to get attention and pity and love and be
Yes.
that for yourself. Fill your own
Mm.
cup, overflow your own cup. Look at yourself and love on you. Like, I love my cheekbones and I love my chin, but it's
Yes.
easier to be like, I'm fat. I have
Hmm.
chins. No one loves me. I need to. No, you're beautiful. Period.
Wow. Absolutely. Yes.
So yeah, power of the tongue,
Yes.
definitely.
Yes, the power of the tongue, the power of the spoken word.
Mhm.
You are your best hero. You are your best cheerleader. Let's say this. You
Yes,
are
you
your
are your
best.
biggest cheerleader.
Yes,
Definitely.
yes, biggest and best
You should be,
cheerleader.
at least. Some of us aren't, but you should be your biggest, you should be your loudest cheerleader
Yes,
before
yes,
anyone else. If I don't blow my own horn, who will?
yes. I
I
know.
need
I'm
to
still
toot my horn.
learning.
You have to toot your horn and say, and it doesn't always have to be the beauty aspect. It could be you are smart. You are able to write this proposal for this $50,000 grant. You are
Yes.
going to get this business plan. This is going to be accepted by the investors. Yes,
Mhm.
you can do this with your business. Imposter syndrome is huge. And we always feel like, I can't do this. You can do anything your brain can conceive. There is nothing
Mm,
put to your mind that you can't do. You can do anything. It's the power of knowing who you are and knowing what
mhm.
you're capable of and believing in
Yes,
self that will get that executed. But the minute you don't believe in self and you tell yourself you can't, you instantly diminish any possibility that you could have done anything. But tell yourself you can. You don't have to do it in the timeline that other people set for you. I think that's what's the issue. We always
yes,
want to do it in society's timeline. I'm doing it in mine.
right.
It takes me 10 years. These are going to be the best 10 years of my life. But I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to do
Mm-hmm.
it in 4 years because society says I should do it in 4 years. No, I'm doing it in 10. Leave me alone. Like,
Yes,
this is
I
my,
am a strong
my
believer
life.
of that.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yes, I'm a strong believer of that. Don't put extra pressure on yourself because society says you should finish this in 2 years, you should finish this in 4 years. Says who? What if you want to take
Guys,
20 years?
my
Right?
biggest question is who's they? Who who's they? They
Yeah,
who? I say I'm doing it in 5 years. They do not matter. They do not
absolutely.
matter. I
Absolutely.
say I'm doing it in this time.
Yes, absolutely. Wow. I love this so much. I'm telling you, I am learning. And I mean, it's not, some of the things are not things that I'm not aware of, that I didn't know before, but it's like the
Yes.
reaffirmation of these things. My daughter, who's 22 years old,
Mhm.
I have her telling me all the time, Mommy, you're thinking too negatively. Why do you have to say that? Why
Mm,
couldn't it be this? Why couldn't it be that? And I'm like, you know that you're right.
yep.
And it caused me to do a lot of self-reflection. I've been doing that lately, a lot of self-reflection, because I know the power of the spoken words. Many times, you find yourself in some situations, and the first thing that presents itself is a negative aspect,
Hmm.
negativity,
Yep. It
right?
pops. The devil is always busy, and he knows that once he gets us here,
Yes,
he can hold us if he gets us here. So if you
right.
mentally prepare yourself and lean on who you're on your belief system.
Yes.
But a lot of us don't have belief systems. You have to have something that's unwavered,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of what's happening in life. It doesn't shake. It may
Right.
tremor slightly because again you're human, but you
Mm-hmm.
always come back to that belief system. That's your foundation. A lot of us don't have
Yes.
that. We premise everything on, but what if it doesn't happen? But what if it does? Have you prepare yourself for if it does? I act
That's
like if
true.
it's happening, I will be successful. Money will come to me. Like I will get that client. Like I just act in the present tense. It will happen. I don't
Yes.
say I'm not sure. The universe doesn't understand what I'm saying when I say I'm not. I just said I'm not, and whatever comes after the not is what's going to happen. It will
Okay.
happen. I will. I am. I am.
Yes.
Most powerful two words you'll ever say. I am.
And I
Blessed,
will.
successful, faithful, prosperous. I am. Yes. Oh, you
Yes.
say, I am broke. I am broke. Oh no, I never say that.
Mm. Yes.
I
That's
never.
something that my daughter taught me last year.
You
Never say
see,
that. Yes.
that's good. I like that your daughter had such an age gap. She's teaching you, and I think
Yes.
parents we never stop learning, especially from them, because their perspective on life is completely different to what ours would be. So
Totally.
they will show us a completely different turn and spin on things.
Yes.
Our
Yes.
conversations with our kids, especially our older kids, but the younger ones too. Because my
Hmm.
son holds me in conversation like it's church. Like he's something else. And just to hear his 5-year-old opinion sometimes
Hmm.
really is baffling versus, so imagine me having a conversation with 17 and 5 at the same time, trying
Right.
to, because I encourage them as much as they're 12 years apart, talk to each other because they're
Yes.
learning from each other. My oldest
Mm.
son says all the time he wish he can have a simple life like my little one, because life is so simple for my 5-year-old
Oh,
versus
yeah.
17-year-old who's coming into his own. He'll be 18 in 2 weeks. He's,
Yes.
experiencing feelings and changes that no one gives you a manual for.
Mm-hmm.
But my little one is like, his biggest question is, which snack should I have today? Like, and my
Oh,
oldest son
yes.
is, Mom, I really would love the simplicity of being 5. And if you look
Mm-hmm.
at that, like, the simplest things in life always make life a little bit easier to just making life simple, simplifying your life just makes it easier. The more we complicate it with
Yeah.
unnecessary pressures and these things, it just makes it a lot harder to traverse. He just wakes up,
Absolutely.
gets a snack, have breakfast,
Mm-hmm.
gets a snack, plays with a toy. Simple
Mm-hmm.
movements of flow in life.
Mm-hmm.
When my oldest one was like, Mom, I just wish life was as simple as it was for Xavier. That's my little one. I looked
Wow.
at it like, wow. And that was it was just a passing by moment. But when I put that into life, it was like, he has no idea how profound what he said is, because
Mm-hmm.
in simplicity, we can find so much peace, so much
Yes.
calm, so much clarity,
Yes.
simplicity. Sometimes we overcomplicate life ourselves. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I muddled that in my head for hours. I was like, this child just literally gave me a breakthrough in 6 words.
Yes.
My life was as simple as his. He had no
Yes.
idea. But if our lives, we just made our lives simple and
Mm-hmm.
simply followed the vision that we put in place, that's
Right.
rooted by our belief system, the possibilities are endless.
Well, I'll tell you, your 17-year-old is not alone. A lot of us, even myself at times, sometimes would reflect on when I was a child and maybe would want to say,
Life
I
was
wish
so,
I was 10
yes,
years old again or 5 years old again because life seems so easy, like
so simple,
so simple.
so simple.
So simple. You didn't have to worry
Today was
about,
really clarity. So,
right. You didn't have to worry about the roof over your head,
mhm,
clothes you're going to wear, what you're going to eat, what you're going to make for dinner tomorrow.
it's
You
true.
didn't have to worry
The
about that.
bills, the goals, nothing.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Another question, just a question that came to my mind, and I just wanted
Mhm.
to quickly ask you: is there a time when you ever feel burnt out?
Is there a time not? I'm managing it a lot better now. I only today posted on my socials about pausing. I am a big advocate for
Mm,
pause, but I tell everybody else to pause, and I'm very hard to do it for myself.
yeah.
I believe in building a legacy because I think that's what I'm doing with my business. I'm building a legacy for generations to come within my family. There's a level of sacrifice that you have to put it in, but it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be sacrifice. Does not always mean you have to be the sacrificial lamb. In the interest of,
Mm,
you don't have to run yourself in the ground. How are you gonna live and experience the fruits of your sacrifice if you aren't here? And something as simple as not getting enough rest, not asking for help, not
yes.
pausing. Sometimes we beat our idea into the ground and we realize the idea is not working, and we just need to accept it's not working. Change the idea. You have the
Mm,
capacity to pivot. um,
yes.
but yes, I do get burnt out because I have 61 million things happening in this little brain of mine at once, and I want to get
Wow.
all of them done now. Typical entrepreneur small business mindset. Like, I have all these dreams that I want to accomplish, but I
Hmm.
had to remember it is not in my time. Nothing I do is in my time. Everything is in his time. Everything is in his time. So as long as I started
Absolutely.
to align with that and
Hmm.
slow down, like literally live in the moment of today. What will I make happen today?
Hmm.
That's it.
Yes. Yes.
Live today. But I do feel burnt out. And when I do, I live on an island and I have more beaches than I can count. I find,
Wow.
and I de-stress for a little bit, recalibrate a little bit, get back to the vision, remind myself of my why, and go again.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. A lot of us wish we were where you are right now.
I know.
I could use the beach right now
I
and some
know.
sun.
I'm sorry. I'll bustle some for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. Well, well, well. This was such an exciting, intriguing, powerful. What else can I say about this session and the time with you, Miss Rhasheda?
Thank
Oh
you
my
for having
goodness, I could spend the entire day talking and listening to you, talking with you, asking you more questions,
me. Mhm.
and just listening to you sharing your perspective on life in general. You have really given us food for thought. You've given us some clarity,
Mhm.
in how
Glad
to
to see that.
approach life daily.
Yes.
Yes.
Very glad to be here. I have a real soft spot for the Her Story movement, and I felt slightly intimidated about by the interview, but then I was like, Rashida, why? Like this was brought to you for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Use it. So I used it to impact, even if it's one person, two people, to just share how I feel, my thoughts, and I had a really, really great time tonight.
Yes, same here. And I definitely want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. And I hope this won't be the last. I hope we will meet even in person
One of these
somewhere,
days, for
sometime
sure.
in the future. I'm putting it out there in the atmosphere right now. That hopefully. And and to our viewers, I also want to thank you for tuning in tonight with, with this on this conversation. I'm just going to encourage everyone, if you haven't had a chance to do so as yet, to definitely visit our website, theolivebranch.ca, where you learn more about the work that the Olive Branch of Hope is doing and has been doing for 20 plus years right now. How we're helping women in the community who are going through their breast cancer journey. We have fundraisers where we try to provide as much resources as we possibly can.
Mhm.
Right now, from the Her Story um, segment of it, we are also raising funds to purchase, what is it now? Something for women with lymphedema,
Mhm.
women who, one of the side effects of going through chemo is
Mhm.
lymphedema. And there is, I believe it's a band or something that they wear that helps to bring some comfort. It's medical devices for women with lymphedema. That's the reason we're raising the awareness and raising funds so that we can get some funds to purchase some of these medical equipment that's needed by our women. Because I
Mhm.
believe that we have to help each other,
It's true.
right? If we don't do it for ourselves, no one is going to do it for us.
Definitely.
And every little bit counts. So if somebody has $5 to donate, we appreciate it. If you have $1,000, if you
We
have
appreciate it.
$10,000 to donate,
We appreciate it.
yes, we do appreciate it. Nothing is too small because we can definitely help someone
For
with
sure.
as small as the thing may seem, we can help someone with it. We do have our support group where newly diagnosed women they meet and they're able to share their experiences with thrivers. So those who are 20 years, 10 years, 15 years
Okay.
thriving through breast cancer, they're able to share some of their wisdom and experiences and resources with women who are now being diagnosed. Um, um, it's very sad to note, and I had mentioned this before at another event, where in Canada, about 3 or 4 years ago, it was said that, well, the Canadian Cancer Society put out a report stating that one in two people will be diagnosed with cancer at some time during our lifetime or
Wow.
their lifetime, right? At some point during one's lifetime, and 1 in 4 will succumb to the disease. So we just have to rely on each of our strengths, each of our encouragements, and each of our support in helping each one to get through this journey.
Definitely.
Yes. So with that being said, we will be closing off as we're just a minute to 8 o'clock. I would like to take this moment to thank all of our guests for joining us and sharing about their journey. Well, we first want to thank you. want to thank you, Rhasheda, for sharing your thoughts, your journey, your vision with us. And please remember, everyone, please remember to visit www.heysisterherstory.ca to purchase any of the co-branded items that you see, because Her Story is giving extra from these products to the Olive Branch of Hope.
Mhm.
So please feel free to donate instead on the website as well. All funds raised are dedicated to purchasing the specialized medical devices that I had mentioned earlier for
Mhm.
Black women living with lymphedema after their breast cancer treatment. So, blessings to all, and a huge thank you on behalf of the Olive Branch of Hope and on behalf of Her Story. We want to say thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
You are very welcome, Rhasheda, and all the very best to you. And I'll be looking out for that book.
Definitely. Look, definitely. Thank you so much. All the best in your fundraising events.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Yes.
First of all, I always thought that breast cancer was a white woman's disease. I didn't know that Black women got breast cancer, and that was mainly because all the promotions featured white women. So I just thought, oh, Black women don't get this. And then, lo and behold, I was diagnosed with stage 3 advanced breast cancer. I thought after that, I finished with the IV and the chemo, that I was going to go home. I didn't know I had to take additional over-the-counter, not over-the-counter, but prescription drugs. And I went, and it was quite expensive. And I thought to myself, okay, what do poor people do? How do women that look like me, that is less fortunate than I am, how do they make it? How do they find the money to pay for this prescription, take care of their families, cover all their finances? That must be so difficult for them. And then I was at home one morning feeling, terrible after chemotherapy treatment. Couldn't get off the bed. It was terrible. And I thought to myself, okay, I don't want any other woman that looks like me to have to go through this alone. So when I get better, I'm going to do something about this. That started the journey of me and the Olive Branch of Hope.